If you guys want to go to sleep at 2 a.m. and wake up at 4 a.m., make sure to get yourself an 11-month-old daughter. You can't tell I'm extremely tired and definitely plan on taking a nap after this one, but duty calls and it's time to talk about Apex. Yesterday, we finally got some good news in Apex that there's a new event coming with a Seer Heirloom, control modes returning, and we're also getting private match access to all players. But not so fast. There's been a lot of people out there, players, content creators, that have thrown up the warning sign, hold up, it might not be for all players. You might need 30 minimum players. But before you jump on that bandwagon, there's a lot of stuff to discuss that Respawn did not tell you, and I think they're doing it on purpose, or either they forgot to tell you. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. As always, I know we could hit 100k if everyone subscribed today that was not subscribed, but it's not going to happen. Regardless, it's good to wish, and let's go ahead and jump right into it. So if you guys have not seen the news, yesterday, like I said, we got that collection event trailer. The patch notes look pretty good. We're all getting private matches. This is going to be hype. Then we began to see a massive load of tweets from content creators and also even your average Joes out there, just basically saying, look, this is only going to be good for the people that have an audience, because it looks like, according to the community manager for Apex Legends, you are going to need a minimum requirement of players. Now, that minimum may or may not be 30. That's the word on the street, but it's not been confirmed by Respawn. I don't really know where these players have heard that number. But before you freak out and say that the private matches are not really for everyone, they're only for the content creators out there, you might possibly be right, but like I said, I have a couple things to tell you that Respawn forgot to tell you. The second thing is probably more important, but the first thing is worth mentioning, and that is the fact, do they really want to make next gen console mistake once again? What exactly do I mean by that? Well, you guys remember when they announced that the next gen console support was coming into the game, but everyone was like, this isn't really next gen console support because we don't even have the main feature, and that is 120 FPS. So why would they advertise all of this private match stuff as, look, private matches for everybody? Everybody has the opportunity to do the private matches now. Even Rico saying two of the most common questions I get asked is about private matches. So now finally everyone can have the opportunity to run their own. Even on the official patch notes, it says private matches are now available for all players. But it is worth mentioning right before that, it indicates, do you want to host your own tournaments? So I can see how both sides of the spectrum may think that they're right on this. On one hand, it seems like their private match priority may be for tournaments, which would make sense as to why you want a high minimum player requirement. On the other hand, they have said private matches are for everyone. So that would seem like you don't need too many of an audience to play. Second thing to consider that they did not tell you yesterday, and I understand why they didn't tell you, because the announcement would definitely be premature. If you guys are not aware of how private match works currently, before all of this update goes live, hosts have the option to change from battle royale to arenas, to change the map that you play on, and also have the option to change how the zone works. If you want to do tournament style, classic, and no zone. And even I said yesterday, now that people are getting access to private lobbies, it'd be nice to have game settings which allow you to change what items spawn and don't spawn. I think overall we need more customization for this. However, how does it make sense to have a 30 player requirement if one of the options is to play arenas where you only need 6 players? Well, one of the elephants in the room that they definitely did not feel like addressing at this time was the fact that it looks like arenas will be replaced permanently by control mode. So theoretically, if that was non-existent, then private matches should allow you to start a game with 6 players in it, because you should be able to do arenas just like you can already. But if they're taking arenas out and putting control mode in, does that mean that they're not going to put control mode in the private matches where you can start your own control matches? Because if you could, then you definitely wouldn't need 30 players to start one of those either. So I'm not saying that one or the other is or not going to happen. I'm just saying that they've not announced anything regarding arenas yet. They've not announced anything regarding control mode yet. And as it stands right now, if you gave everyone access to play private matches today, you would be able to start your own arenas match, which obviously doesn't need 30 players. So I don't know why everyone's just immediately jumping to conclusions on this. On the flip side, do you want to be stupid enough to believe that Respawn's going to make the community happy here? We've seen them with the cross progression, we've seen them with the next gen console support, and a lot of times it ends in disappointment. But there's another thing. I didn't mention a third thing, but I just thought of it. Honestly, it makes good sense, is that when you go into the firing range, a lot of people are saying, oh look, the reason they're going to do the minimum team requirements or the player requirements in the private matches is because the servers are not not going to be able to hold up. And I see your point, but my follow-up question is, what about firing range? Because that uses the same concept. It uses online servers, and you have to be online and connected to the internet in order to go to the firing range. We don't see a massive outbreak when there's a new teaser in the firing range and everyone goes in there. So what's the big issue with private matches only having 3 players in it if firing range can have 3 players in it? Regardless, they did confirm there will be a player requirement. I just don't know what it's going to be yet. I'm not sure how all of this is going to work with the control situation and arenas mode situation, and if the player requirements will vary in between game modes. Are they going to get rid of all the game modes except for battle royale? Is this priority for tournament specifically, or is it really going to be private matches? I don't know. The patch notes were pretty decent, but I think there's a lot of things they're purposely not telling us. But there's also something that they did tell us that we didn't pick up on and not a lot of people are talking about, and there's also a lot of things that were hinted about season 16 yesterday that I wanted to mention here as well. The first thing was coming from Ian Holstead. This guy is the gameplay programmer over at Apex Legends, and thank you to Lily for tagging me in this over on Twitter. I thought this was a pretty good one. So one of the bug fixes that was actually in the patch notes is that there was a Mirage fixed decoy not showing shield regen FX whenever you're near the Watson pylon in control or gun game modes, and Ian made a retweet on this saying it's a small one, but Mirage mains, I got you. I've been slowly grinding all my way through Watson ult related bugs for reasons that will be obvious in due time. So obviously indicating a massive legend rework over in season 16. At least that's what we definitely think. And also, players have been complaining about the way visual effects work in this game. We've always complained about muzzle flash. We still kind of complain about muzzle flash, even though they have made some updates and progress to it in the past. We've also complained about dirt and debris, you know, dust and smoke flying in your face after gunshots that really just simply don't make sense. The strange brightness from the zone that we've always had to deal with. Just the visual clutter and obstruction when you're shooting your gun a lot of times, or whenever you get in fights that just don't make sense. Well, they actually also made an update to this on the patch notes. John Larson said private match is cool and all, but also what about this? They have reduced the visual effects of the caustic gas flash. So finally, when you go into caustic gas, you won't have a lit up screen where you can't even see what you're doing. I think obviously you should be stunned. You should maybe have some stuff impaired, but you shouldn't have to fight against caustic and his abilities along with stupid visual obstruction that should never be in the game. So that's under bug fixes, I'm pretty sure, but I think it's more along the lines of quality of life. So I know Apex has a lot to work on and a lot to prove if it's going to gain the trust of the community members back again, because a lot of people have always been skeptical. And I'm pretty sure like now we're at the point when events come out, no one really gets excited off the rip. They just kind of say, look, we've been excited before and we get disappointed every time. I'll wait to see if it's worth getting excited for once the event comes out later. And I think all of that is well deserved and fair play. Respawn needs to step it up, and they definitely need to make community members happy with progress and actual action rather than speaking about things that might come in the future. Alpha Intel said this yesterday though, 4 days into the new year, and we're already seeing SBMM changes that they were testing during the holidays, and hopefully, you know, they'll bring that to all servers. I think they were testing it on Salt Lake City. So a lot of you were asking me, did they make that change like they said? I think they were just testing it on one specific server, and then you know, they're going to make adjustments and then eventually bring it to all servers. But regardless, a new heirloom also coming with the Seer heirloom. I think this is one of the better ones. It looks really cool. Control mode coming back, and then obviously private matches coming as well. And then take this for what you will. I mentioned it in yesterday's video, but when I was making jokes about who the best developer over at Apex currently is, Josh said that basically I'm gonna be in the lead once we push out the next season, but I'm already turning down the honor. So what exactly does that mean? What exactly are they bringing in the next season? At least when he says next season, that doesn't mean like, hey, next year that might happen, it might come. Like next season, all the stuff for next season is already done. It's pretty much wrapped up in a box. Like there's no more updates that need to be done for it. We're a month away from the next season, and they're already saying that it's pretty much guaranteed to come. So what is it that he's talking about? That makes it seem like he's trying to redeem himself with the whole cross progression and next gen console 120 FPS thing. He also said once we push out the next season. So I would imagine it's not a mid-season update. It's going to be at the launch of the new season. It finally feels like the tides are turning for Apex and fans are starting to get interested again, but regardless, it's not going to work with just talk. We need action and we need things to be good again. Let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comment section below. Leave a like on the video if you guys did enjoy. Subscribe to the channel if you're new as always, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I'll see you later, Gators. Also, shout out to my man Max for winning in the streams yesterday.